You know, not for nothing, this game has a really good version of the Samus Appears theme. I think that's really well orchestrated. This game has a full orchestra for its soundtrack, they just don't use it too much. Either way, not much time to talk, we're immediately back into cutscenes.
He's dead. Someone or something attacked him.
Get away from me!
It was obvious that there was some pervasive danger throughout the facility.
No.
I didn't know what had brought Adam here, but I did know that cooperation was imperative if we were to restore safety. Adam, listen to me. Clearly, this facility is in complete disorder. It might be too dangerous for your men to go alone. That's why I've...
Look at that!
They're coming out of the wall!
Right, stay calm. Buddy.
Time for the first boss fight, where it's kind of locked in the first half. Just dodge all the attacks and use sense move properly. You can't really do much damage. The main thing you need to do is just lock on with a missile and get its HP bar to show up by locking onto its weak point.
This ain't good! Nothing's working! Listen up! Freeze guns authorized! Sam, I'm authorizing missile use!
Like I really should have needed to wait for you anyway. Now we can use missiles again, and it works the exact same way we got it last part. They make you do the tutorial and then get the items again, which is a little weird, but oh well. We just need to shoot the eye again for right now, though, to trigger the next cutscene.
Concentrate fire in a single location and freeze that thing! And Samus, you attack the frozen spot!
Do as he said. Whenever you hit the main weak points, the Brug Mass here is going to slam a piece down. They're going to freeze it. You need to blow it up. We need to do that, I think, 2 or 3 different times to actively empty the HP bar. The more damage you do to the Brug Mass, the more pieces it loses, and also the more limited its attacks get. To the point where at the final phase here, it's just kind of hopping around trying to just slam its face into you. And there's something about that that's almost adorable. I don't know why, which is weird because when I first got to this cutscene when I played the game back in 2010, when I was either 12 or 13, depending on the month, seeing the eye of this thing show up in that cutscene scared the shit out of me because I wasn't exactly the most horror-prone individual at the time, or alien-prone. I was very easy to scare, was the point.
Samus, looks like I'm gonna need to ask for your cooperation on this mission, but I'm also gonna have to ask that you follow my commands. You don't move unless I say so, and you don't fire until I say so. Any objections, lady?
The thumbs up sign had been used by the Galactic Federation for ages. Me? I was known for giving the thumbs down during briefing. I had my reasons, though. Commander Adam Malkovich was normally cool and not one to joke around. But he would end all of his mission briefings by saying, "Any objections, lady?" He was joking, but others weren't. At the time, I felt surrounded by people who treated me like a child, or used kid gloves because I was a woman. And yet with Adam, I was grateful for the nod. My past has left me with an uneasy soul, and as a result, It touched me on some level that Adam would acknowledge that past by calling me something delicate, like lady. And I knew more than anyone that every word from Adam was deliberate. My thumbs down was a twofold response. A sign of derision at being called a lady, and a signal of my complete understanding of the mission orders. The other soldiers were always willing to support me with easy smiles despite the fact that I clearly had so much yet to learn. Among them was Anthony. In the face of his well-meaning behavior and that of the other soldiers, my response was to become increasingly bitter. I was a child, always with something to prove, a chip on my shoulder. And I was angry. I felt that if I let my guard down, I would easily be broken. And beyond that, I was scared. But even in the naivete of my youth, I could see in Adam's joking manner how close he felt to me. Adam knows my past, and he knows me better than anyone else. Confession time.
Sure about that?
Because
I'm
I was
pretty
so
sure there's
young
some
when I lost
Chozo
both of
and
my
your dead
parents,
parents.
there's no
Don't say
question I
otherwise.
saw Adam as a father figure. When I rebelled against him, I knew I could get away with it. And his paternal compassion in the face of my rebellion reinforced the special bond I felt with him. I understood well that chances were slim that I would ever find anyone that understood me like Adam. And yet, when the time came, I still left his side. I was so young and naive.
Exactly what transpired here on the bottle ship is still uncertain. Here's what we do know. The equipment we thought had been destroyed is operational again. And we've seen casualties attributed to an unidentified and lethal creature. The situation is critical. We need to gather all the information we can, but priority one is to find any survivors and bring them to safety. Consider this site extremely dangerous. Be careful as you make your sweeps. And there's one problem. The wireless interference in this facility is all-pervasive. Your comm systems are useless. As a result, communication channels will be limited to the facility's navigation booths. Well then, Lyle, investigate Sector 1 and show a little restraint with the explosives.
Gotcha.
Maurice, you cover Sector 2. Repair any equipment you come across.
Affirmative.
Anthony, you're Sector 3. I'll leave it to you to decide whether plasma guns are called for.
All right.
James, check out the control bridge. Our communication issues might be the result of electrical interference.
Yes, sir.
And KG, run a complete sweep of the residential quarters and investigate any trace of survivors.
Got it.
Each of you is authorized to use a freeze gun. Do not forget to check in regularly via navigation booths. And Samus, you go to the system management room. Do everything you can to get the electrical system back up and running. Looks like your comm system is still functional. Remember, everything you see will also appear on this screen. Regarding auxiliary weapons, the use of bombs has been authorized. As far as your other weapons go, we will continue to investigate and authorize use as we can. However, we currently have no plans to authorize the use of power bombs. As you know, they have the ability to spread a high-temperature heat wave over a large area, impacting living things, which is a nice way of saying they can vaporize humans instantly. You should be well aware of how dangerous power bombs are, and how their devastation can't be obstructed with common materials. Once the mission in the system management room is complete, I need you to report back. I'll give you your next orders then. I want you all to be especially careful as you execute your missions. That's the end of the briefing.
I It was the first joint mission I'd been a part of since becoming a freelance bounty hunter. And of course, it was the first time since my Federation days that I was following the orders of a commanding officer. Having received mission orders from Adam, I felt confused and strangely exhilarated at the unexpected turn of events. I responded. Understood, Adam. No objections, of course.
And as we start to see, Samus makes some weird word choices whenever she refers to Adam in the game, but we do get bombs back now at least, which means we can do the most basic of traversal for a Metroid game. Although I'll give this game this. Samus doesn't start with much in the game in terms of after the authorization stuff gets introduced, but she does natively have the spring ball. You can jump with the morph ball by pressing the jump button. That's a missile tank. You can mark things on your map in one of two ways, either by killing every enemy in a room like I mentioned last part, or by zooming in on it in first person like that. In this case, we can just get this. Every missile tank is one missile in this game. Because you have technically infinite missiles, because you can recharge them at any time, it's not too big of a problem. With that said, I do wish they played some sort of fanfare when you picked up an item, because it's just that little dunk sound effect. It's not like the classic item pick up the first time you get it. It's not the Metroid Prime It just very characterless, which is a way I can describe a lot about Other M now that I think about it, but we'll get more into that as we go. With that said, our first mission is pretty simple. We just have to come back to where we saw this energy tank last part, bomb through it, and go into the next room to actively clear it. With that said, it's not going to be quite that easy because we have a bit of a mini-boss here. This is, I forget the name of these bugs, but it's their hives. It's the major boss fight here of sorts. And it's here we get to see a minor, really important thing you can do in Other M to make combat go by faster: jumping. As not only does jumping allow you to dodge attacks outside of using Sense Move, as well as do Overblasts, a mechanic we'll get a more in-depth tutorial on from the game in a few moments, it also allows you, when you're jumping in first-person mode in particular, immediately after jumping, fire missiles at a slightly faster rate. I think that's more so an animation, I don't want to say bug, but oversight than anything, but it's useful, because missiles in this game are effective. I'd say they're the most powerful thing in the game, barring two particular things. They do really good damage ratio, more than even the endgame charge shot. Oh, good old side hoppers. So this is where they teach you about Overblast. A lot of enemies, you just jump right on top of them to just shoot a charge shot straight into whatever their respective cranium or weak spot is, to, if not instant kill them, do, I'd say, maybe half to a third of their health bar. It's really effective. With that said, this means you're fighting a lot of the enemies in the game the exact same way, because Samus doesn't get much for combat in the game. You're using the arm cannon and your various upgraded beams and missiles throughout, by and large, the entire game, with one major combat upgrade later on otherwise. Two, technically, now that I think about it. And it makes me wonder why get the people who did the modern Ninja Gaiden games to do this game if you're not going to do something more in-depth with the combat, like maybe make Samus more melee-focused, give her either a sidearm, or maybe do what Dread did physically in some regards and have her do some sort of martial arts as well, or physical combat. But this game's development cycle is not only a long one, but it's one we know both a lot and a little about. We know this was basically Sakamoto's baby, for better or worse. I'll get more into my thoughts on developments and that sort of thing as we go, though, because we got a lot more to talk about. For instance, now that we've activated that terminal, we can jump down a few platforms to that morph ball tunnel I was attempting to jump to last part, and come into it and get a missile tank. There's a lot of missile tanks in this game, since every single one only gives you one. I'd say they're the majority of the game's items. There's not too many energy tanks in the game. There are 2 new pickups for the series in this game, though. Also, we can't progress on. The game does this often. In order to progress onto the next room, or otherwise, you need to often use the save room that you're in or next to. And this is where we also get the other purpose of save rooms. They reveal the game's map. Despite being a Metroid, this game is not very much about exploration. The path in front of you is very linear, and they reveal it to you at every single save room. If the level design was more non-linear, I'd have more of a problem with that, but the game does put you through a very straight pathway, so I don't mind it too much, but it is a little weird for a Metroid game to do that. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're going to report back to Adam and see what he has to say for we're going to report back to Adam and see what his next mission is for us. See you guys then.